Your furnace blows cold air, and your air conditioner doesn't. The water seems to go everywhere you don't want it to, and your kitchen and bath haven't been remodeled since the 50s. Well, welcome to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. Kansas City has depended on Dick Ray and Shawnee Mission Plumbing, Heating and Cooling to solve heating, cooling, plumbing, and remodeling problems for over 50 years. All you need to do is call 576-7798. And now the Master Plumber with a degree in mechanical engineering is here to help. Here's the potentate of pipes, the Earl of Electricity, the Emperor of Air, the Imperial Poobah of Plumbing, the Grand Toileteer, the Master Plumber, Dick Ray.
Right. Now that sounds better. Good morning. You're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. And, hey, it's kind of nice out there. A little nippy, but warming up. Not bad. If you haven't heard our show before, we're the Home Improvement Hour. I'm here every Sunday from 11 to noon on KMBZ. I've been doing this show for a lot of years, and the show is all about, well, it's about what the name of the show is, the Home Improvement Hour. We talk about things around your house, and I think a lot of people that listen to the show are do-it-yourselfers and listen to the show because they know that that I am more than willing to share the information that I've gained being in the business for many, many years with do-it-yourselfers. If you're a do-it-yourselfer, you don't do it every day for a business. So anyway, it's nice to get a little bit of free advice from somebody when you start a project like that. I know that feeling myself. I'm a do-it-yourselfer too. I work on projects around my house, things that I don't ordinarily do for a living. And one thing I always try and do is find somebody that knows more about it than I do. Just makes project go a lot more smoothly. And anyway, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, we welcome you to the show. I know also there are a lot of people that listen to the show that aren't do-it-yourselfers, that never intend to turn a wrench, but I think a lot of people listen to the show, particularly probably people that have older houses that are, and I think a lot of people living in those older houses realize that there have been things come down the pike, new things, new developments, things that maybe they want to incorporate in their own homes, and we talk about stuff like that on this show. And so I think a lot of people listen to just find out what kind of changes they might want to make in their home as their home gets older. And of course, a lot of that kind of stuff has to do with changes in heating and air conditioning equipment. I tell you what, that's one of the areas that I'm involved in my business on a daily basis. That's one of the things that there are more changes. Just seems like there's a change every day in the world of heating and air conditioning. Of course, there's stuff like more efficient equipment, but there's a lot of government regulations and rebates from utility companies and beneficial rate plans. And anyway, I tell you what, it's almost a full-time job for me, just staying on top of all that stuff. It really is. And anyway, I pass on information on things like that. Anyway, whatever the reason, we're glad that you're here. I'm going to go ahead and open up the phone lines early today. If you would like to get a line, all of the lines are open right now, and we're going to get to the phones. Got something I wanted to talk about first, but right after that, we'll get to the phones. And if you want to guarantee to get an open line, right now is the time to call, because all the lines are open. Our number, if you'd like to get in right now, is 576-7798. I'm going to talk about something that I think you'll find interesting, and then we're going to get to the phone. So anyway, if you'd like to get a phone line for sure, our number is 576-7798. I've talked about this subject before. And every time I do, my friends down in Lewisburg, they say, "Oh, Dick, I heard you on the radio today," and they just think this is funny as all get out, and they give me a hard time, frankly. Yeah, but anyway, I'm going to do it anyway. This is important stuff, and it's something that a lot of people still don't know about, I'm sure. And what I'm going to do today is tell you a story about a lesson that I learned. I learned this story, I learned this lesson the hard way. And this involves something that people don't talk about much in polite conversation. I mean, it's just not something you talk about over the dinner table or anywhere else for that matter, unless you're Dick Ray. And I talk about it all the time because I've learned that I have to keep myself out of trouble. Anyway, here's a story that taught me this hard-learned lesson. And I have a really good customer, and I'm just going to call him John in this story, although that's not his real name. And John's been a good customer of mine and my dad's for years. My dad first started working for John back in the 50s, and we've worked for him continuously. Excuse me. Continuously since then, doing all kinds of work for him. I mean, a lot of work. We've remodeled his bathrooms, installing furnaces and air conditioning equipment, high-efficiency air filtration systems, and, of course, lots of miscellaneous service workers, too. John's just a very good customer, a loyal customer for many, many years. Anyway, one day, and this was a few years ago, but John called me and said that he wanted to replace his toilet. He wanted a new toilet, and he said he wanted a toilet that had a taller seat height, taller seat than normal. And we call them comfort height toilets, and they were designed for handicapped individuals or just older persons who find it more difficult to get up and down off of a toilet with a standard shorter seat height. And we sell and install lots of these comfort height toilets, especially to older persons who are getting older or maybe getting a little bit of arthritis or maybe just just from old age, the joints are getting a little stiff and sore, and a taller toilet, it's a nice thing to have. It's just easier to seat yourself on a toilet whose seat's a little bit taller. Actually, I'm going to say that probably 90% of the toilets that I sell and install today are the taller comfort height model. You know, no matter what your physical condition, they're just easier to use, no matter what your age, unless if you're in grade school or something like that, that's different. But anyway, it really didn't surprise me when John said that he wanted to install a taller comfort height toilet in his home. Like I said, we've worked for John since the 50s, and that gives you some indication of his age. He's getting up there in age, so a comfort height toilet just makes sense. Well, I told John over the phone that day that I recommended a Toto Drake toilet as a good flushing comfort height toilet, which it is. Anyway, I ordered the toilet, installed it at John's house a day or two later. Well, a day or two after that, John called me and said, "Hey, Dick, just wanted you to know that the new Toto toilet, it plugged up today. The maintenance people where I live were able to clear the blockage pretty easily, but I just wanted you to know that it plugged up." Now, this surprised me. I mean, Toto makes damn good flushing toilets, and I've sold a lot of them for many years without problems. And here John's toilet had plugged up just a day or two after I installed it. Strange. Well, when John called me a day or two later and said that the new toilet was plugged again, I said, "Hey, John, don't touch it. Let me get my plumber down there to check it out, and let's see what's going on." Well, I sent my plumber, Mike, who had installed the toilet originally. I sent Mike out to check and see what was going on, and here's what Mike found. Still in the toilet bowl, a very large, firm bowel movement. Now, if they gave prizes for things like that, this one would have been a prize winner. Mike measured it with his tape measure, and it was 3 inches in diameter, fairly long and very firm, and that was the problem. Even though the Toto was a very good toilet, it just couldn't handle the large, firm stools that were getting put down it. Well, here's what I learned the hard way that day. When you sell a toilet to a customer, you had better tell them this story that I just told you and ask them if they have this problem of large, firm stools. And if they do, you'd better tell them not to buy any toilet except a Gerber Power Flush model, because even a good flushing toilet like a Toto is not immune to blockages depending on what's put in it. And if you have the problem of large firm stools because of a medication you're taking or for whatever reason, I think a lot of young persons just naturally have this problem. Anyway, if you have this problem, you're crazy if you buy any toilet except a Gerber Power Flush model. It's the most powerful flushing toilet on the market, bar none. Well, after that experience with John, I decided that I had better start telling that story to all my customers who were buying toilets, because I figured that if they had the problem of large firm stools, they probably would not mention it to me, just as John hadn't mentioned it to me. I mean, people just don't like to talk about stuff like that. And unless I ask them, they probably aren't going to tell me about it. And if I don't know that a person has this problem, I may sell them the wrong toilet. If I know that they have the problem of large firm stools, I'm going to insist that they get a Gerber Power Flush toilet. Nothing else makes sense at that point. Well, I did something else too. Gerber Power Flush Toilets has been a sponsor of this show for many years now, and after the problem I had with John's toilet, I decided to write a script for a radio ad that talks specifically about the problem of persons that have large firm stools and how the only toilet to buy if you have this problem is a Gerber Power Flush model. Well, guess what? After that ad started playing on this show, people started coming out of the woodwork. People who had this problem of large firm stools, who had heard the ad and called me, because for years, maybe these people had just lived with the fact that their toilet was going to plug frequently. And these people didn't realize that there was a good solution to the problem, like the Gerber Power Flush toilet. I had one man who heard my ad. He drove all the way up from Coffeyville, Kansas, to buy a Power Flush Gerber from me, and many, many others who came from some distance because they heard my ad play and realized for the first time that there was a solution to their constantly plugged toilet. I just have come to realize that a lot of people have this problem and don't realize that there is a solution. One woman from Fort Scott who came up and bought a Power Flush model from me, she tickled me. She told me this story. She told me that before she used the toilet, she'd go out in the yard and get a stick to break up the BM before she flushed the toilet so it wouldn't plug the toilet. And I didn't ask her what she did with the stick afterwards anyway. Most toilets develop their force from the flush from the gravity. As water falls from the higher level of the tank into the bowl, the force of the flush is created by the fact that the water falls from the tank at a higher level into the bowl at a lower level. Gravity gives it all the force of the flush. In a Gerber Power Flush model, the water has that force created by gravity, like all other toilets. But in addition, it has a much greater force than a pure gravity flush toilet by virtue of the fact that in a Gerber Power Flush toilet, the water in the toilet tank is stored under pressure, so that when the water is released from the tank to flush the toilet, it has much, much more force and velocity to move waste. Large, firm stools out of the toilet bowl. The Gerber is definitely your best bet. Well, anyway, that's it in a nutshell. Like I told you, my friends are going to give me a hard time. I can already hear them. That's it in a nutshell. The Gerber Power Flush toilets are the best flushing toilets on the market and are a must if you have the large firm stool problem that we've been talking about. So there you are. If you have any questions about toilets in general or about the Gerber Power Flush model or about how it works, the phone lines are now open. Give me a holler. Or, of course, if you have questions about really anything else, call me. Or maybe you've got a question about something else mechanical in your home. Or maybe you got a do-it-yourself project you'd like to have a little bit of help with, and I'll be glad to talk about that too. And, of course, keep in mind that I do the things that we talk about on this show. I do them every day for a living. That would include fixing and replacing broken air conditioners and furnaces and heat pumps and plumbing repairs, as well as complete kitchen and bath remodeling too. And if I can pass on any information to you that'll help, I'm more than glad to do it. All you got to do is pick up the phone right now. We still got open lines. Our number, 576-7798. This really is the best part of the show that we're getting into now, because we're going to talk to you about your problems and the questions that you have. But it's up to you to make this happen by picking up the phone. Our number again, 576-7798. So give us a holler, 576-7798. You're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. Going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back to the phones. This is Dick Ray, the Master Plumber at Shawnee Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Did you ever wonder how much water you waste every morning as you stand there by the shower with the water running full blast, waiting for the hot water to finally get there so you can take a shower? Well, it's a lot of wasted water. For an average family, 10,000 gallons a year or more, not to mention the aggravation of waiting for what seems like an eternity for the hot water to finally get there. Well, the cure is a system made by Grundfos, a pump down on the water heater and a thermal bypass installed under your lavatory. It's pretty simple, really, and it works. No more wait for hot water, no more wasted water. And it's made by Grundfos, a manufacturer of high-quality pumps for the plumbing industry. Grundfos pumps, installed by Dick Ray, the Master Plumber, the best that money can buy.
This is KMBZ.
This is Dick Ray, the Master Plumber at Shawnee Mission Plumbing and Cooling. During our last heavy rains, I got a call from a longtime customer in a panic. His sump pump had quit, and although he was bailing water by hand, he just couldn't keep up, and the water was getting into the carpet and walls of his beautifully finished basement. I said, "Jim, you really need a good battery backup system." "I know," he said. Well, we replaced his pump and put in a good PHCC Pro Series battery backup system that day, but it was a little late at that point. Lots of water damage already done. You know, I see that a lot. Beautifully finished basement, sump pump, and no backup pumping system installed until the basement gets flooded. If you have a finished basement and no backup pump, you're just crazy. Don't get flooded. And when you get a backup pumping system, get the good one, the PHCC Pro Series 2400, with a microprocessor that finds problems before it's too late. It's the one you want. Call me for the details. PHCC Pro Series pumps, installed by Dick Ray, the Master Plumber, the best that money can buy.
This is KMBZ.
This is Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. Lots of my customers call me, especially in the winter, complaining of not enough hot water from their water heater. Now, they could install a bigger water heater, but that's expensive. Or they could turn the temperature up on their water heater, but that's dangerous. They could get scalded. Well, good news. I can install a Cash Acme tank booster on your existing water heater, and you can end up with about 50% more usable hot water. That's 50% more time in the shower. The tank booster allows you to turn the temperature on your water heater up to a higher temperature setting without the danger of scalding, because it automatically tempers the water to a safe temperature. Tank booster is built by the 100-year-old Cash Acme Company, synonymous with quality. Tank booster, installed by Dick Ray, the Master Plumber, the best that money can buy. And we're back. You're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. And we still got a couple open lines. Love to have you join us. All you got to do is pick up the phone and give us a holler. Grab a line here, 576-7798. Two open lines. Later on, they get harder to find. Give us a holler, 576-7798. We're going to get right to the phones, and we will start with Tim here. Hi, Tim. What can I do for you? Tim, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. What I got is a bit of an attic insulation problem.
Okay, what's that?
Under the eaves on the outside, there's usually vents that go up to the attic.
Yeah, right.
To help circulate.
Yeah.
I don't know the proper term. I think I'm using the right term.
E-vents, yeah.
I have a mansard roof.
Okay.
The shingles actually come down the side of the house.
Okay.
Am I using the correct term?
I don't know. I'm not a carpenter. But I think I know what you're talking about.
Where the eave is, after the first level of the house, there are no vents. Now, it is a townhome, and 3 attics attics are connected. It was before really the government stepped in and said you got to put a firewall in between each place.
Yeah.
I don't know if they've hooked up some kind of system or not. I'm seeing if maybe you knew something about that situation or if maybe ran into it.
Attic ventilation is important. I'll just start by saying that. Now, my skills do not lie in the carpentry area, but I will say that generally a good practice, good accepted practice to ventilate an attic. If you don't ventilate an attic, you're going to end up with moisture trapped up there and condensation up on the rafters and stuff, and water damage. And so you want a little bit of air to blow through an attic. And so the accepted practice says you put in ventilation to the outside at a low spot in the attic, which would be the eave vents that you see cut into the eaves frequently, so that the relatively cooler air can come into the attic there. And then you put a ridge vent across the top of the ridge of the roof, or maybe you put gable end vents up high in the gables at the end of the house, with the idea in mind that you set up a little natural convection and that the relatively cooler air can come in from the outside, and the eave vents get up into the attic, and as it's heated, it escapes at the higher ridge vents or the gable end vents. Now, I'm sure there are other ways to do that.
I do have a gable end vent.
Okay,
fairly large gable end vent.
Okay, well, that's good. I think it would be better if you had some areas like eave vents where ventilation can get in at a lower level, but at least you do have the gable vents. And you said that you have some connection to the other parts of the attic that are maybe better ventilated. I don't know that that's going to help all that much, but at least you've got gable end vents in that part of the attic. You probably would be better off talking to there. I'm sure there are a lot of people that know a lot more than that. Somebody with carpentry skills could probably address that better than I.
And I've just been on the hunt to try and find somebody.
Yeah, golly, and I don't know who to tell you to.
You name it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know anybody really to steer you to on that one, Tim.
Okay. No, I just figured I'd double check. Just wild hunch.
Okie dokie. Well, appreciate the call. Sorry I couldn't give you a better answer on that one.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. All righty. That opens the line. Actually, we still got a couple open lines. We'd love to have you join us. All you got to do is pick up the phone, give us a holler. 576-7798. And let's see, we got Roger next. Hi, Roger. What can I do for you?
Yeah, I have a question about Aprilaire humidifiers.
Okay.
I think you sell those, correct?
Yeah, Aprilaire, that's the only brand we sell, and they're the best. And not just because I sell them, they really are the best.
Okay. I see they have a new model out that you don't need a drain. Have you had any situations where that's been good, bad, or indifferent? Or?
I don't know what their new model is that doesn't have a drain, but I can tell you that, I hate commenting on a model I haven't even seen yet, yeah. But I'll just say this. When I hear that, I say, haven't we learned from the past? Because it used to be that no humidifiers had drains. If you look back at humidifiers in the 60s, humidifiers had a water line going to them, of course, and they had a float valve in them similar to a toilet that maintained constant water level in a reservoir in the humidifier. And then a rotating wheel rotated in this tank of water, and the wheel got wet, and when the wheel got wet as it rotated into the water, and then as it got up in the airstream, moisture evaporated. The problem with those kind of humidifiers is that there was no provision for getting rid of the lime in the water, and those even after just a few weeks operation, those tanks would just get full of calcium. Can you hang on? They're going to unplug me if I don't break for the news here. I'd like to comment more on that. I'm going to put you on hold. You're listening to the Home Improvement Hour with Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. Got a couple open lines if you'd like to join us. The number is 576-7798. Going to break for the news. We'll be right back to the phones.
This is Kansas City's news, traffic, and weather station. This is KMBZ, Kansas City.
11:30 in Kansas City from the KMBZ Newsroom. I'm Rob Ladd. Secretary of State John Kerry says the Obama administration is rewarding the Egyptian government with financial aid because of Cairo's promises of economic and political reforms. Kerry says the U.S. is providing $190 million immediately as part of a larger pledge of more than $450 million. Kerry says the money reflects Egypt's extreme needs and President Mohamed Morsi's commitment to satisfying conditions to close a nearly $5 billion package of International Monetary Fund loans. Now your forecast from staff meteorologist Sally Russell.
Flipper system may push on through Monday night, increasing the chance for either rain or snowfall. We are going to be partly sunny today and enjoying these mid-40s for this afternoon. Tonight, we will not get below freezing, so we'll stay above freezing for tonight with clouds and 35 degrees. Mainly cloudy skies, 45 for Monday, and then Monday night, this is when the system pushes on through. We could see some evening rain mixing with or transitioning over to some snowfall overnight. Temperatures in the upper 20s, and partly sunny and dry Tuesday, 35. I'm staff meteorologist Sally Russell, KMBZ Weather.
Right now, 37 degrees at KCI, 35 in Olathe, 39 at your official weather station. I'm Rob Ladd. Stay connected with 98.1 FM KMBZ and KMBZ.com.
This is Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. You have a 2-story house, and let me guess, even with the fans running full blast in the summer, it's still miserably hot upstairs. I mean miserable. Hard to sleep at night. Yeah, you could get a window air conditioner, window noisemaker, I call them. They're noisy, expensive to operate, and just look terrible, like a big old wart on your beautiful home. Well, I've got the answer. It's a good-looking, slim, unobtrusive Mitsubishi Electric cooling and heating unit that you can't even hear running. And efficient? Heck, it puts out twice the cooling capacity per dollar spent on electricity compared to your current air conditioner. I've got 2 at my own home, and they are wonderful. So quiet. They're great for room additions or for any hot or cold spots in your home, too. Mitsubishi Electric cooling and heating systems installed in your home by Dick Ray, the Master Plumber, the best that money can buy.
This is KMBZ. KMBZ.
This is Dick Ray, the Master Plumber at Shawnee Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. As you get older, you can put off a move to assisted living by making some changes to your home and bathroom. In my large Kohler registered plumbing fixture showroom, I've devoted an entire section to products you may need in your bathroom to avoid having to move to an assisted living facility. I got a jacuzzi brand Whirlpool tub with a door in the side, a wheelchair accessible shower, got showers with seats and hand sprays and grab bars, showers to go where your old bathtub was. We've got taller comfort height toilets, a bidet conversion toilet seats, and all this stuff and more is on display in my showroom. Not to mention good advice from people who've been doing this kind of work for years and are good at it. Kohler fixtures and faucets installed by Dick Ray, the Master Plumber, the best that money can buy.
This is KMBZ.
This is Dick Ray, the Master Plumber. If you're like a lot of people and just hate your toilet because it gets plugged so frequently, and if you're at the point where you're saying, I'm sick of this, I want the best flushing toilet known to mankind, then you want a Gerber Ultra Flush toilet. It still only uses 1.6 gallons of water per flush, but that 1.6 gallons of water is stored in the toilet tank under pressure, and when it's released, you've never seen a flush that powerful in anybody's home. It's really dramatic. Often people will put things down toilets and public restrooms that they wouldn't in their own homes, like rags or handy wipes or tampons. Or maybe you have a family member with large, firm stools. Whatever the reason, if you really want the most powerful flush available, you want a Gerber Ultra Flush toilet. You can see the flush in the live models in my showroom, too. Gerber Power Flush toilets installed by Dick Ray, the Master Plumber, the best that money can buy.
expressed on the following paid commercial program are those of the host and guests and do not represent the opinion of KMBZ or Entercom Kansas City.
And we're back. Not a bad day out there. Just warming up. It'll be warmer next week. Spring's around the corner. Hey, still got a couple open lines here. If you'd like to join us, our number 576-7798. We're going to get back to Roger here. Roger, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Here's what I was saying about humidifiers. Humidifiers are the past. The problem with humidifiers back in the 60s and the end of the 70s probably was that in every gallon of water there's a certain amount of lime, the hardness in the water. And those things, if you have a humidifier that evaporates a gallon of water and doesn't have any provision for getting rid of the lime just accumulates in the humidifier, and it just, those old rotating wheel type humidifiers that had a float valve in them like a toilet, every gallon of water they evaporated, a new gallon of water came in, but when the gallon of water evaporated, the lime deposit stayed right there in that tank, and that rotating wheel and that tank just came caked with lime, and just after a few weeks of operation. And that was the big problem with humidifiers back then. They worked just fine. When you first installed the humidifier, they worked just fine, but shoot, that just for a week or two. And if you wanted those old humidifiers to really continue to work, well, you'd have to take that pan off of the bottom of the humidifier and clean it probably once every couple of weeks. And anyway, Aprilaire is the company that came up with the solution. And Aprilaire says, the way to cure this problem of the lime accumulation is, instead of bringing water into a tank and just evaporating all of the water out of it and leaving the hardness deposits in the tank, instead of doing that, hey, let's run water over a filter panel, and as the water evaporates, it's going to start building up deposits on the filter panel that the air is going through. But let's do something different. Let's waste some water, and let's waste a little bit of water down the drain. Well, the beauty of that whole theory, of that whole system, is that the water that was wasted down the drain took mineral deposits off of the pad. So that's the reason why all good humidifiers from that day forward wasted a little bit of water. It's to flush the lime deposits off of the water panel in the humidifier. And, oh, man, I have not seen anything on this new Aprilaire that you said that doesn't have a drain hose. Maybe it's got a pump and it pumps the water somewhere.
No, it's the ad that I'm looking at. The brochure says that it has uses no electricity, and it's a drainless humidifier, utilizes breakthrough technology that uses 100% of water that goes into it. And unlike steam humidifiers, it virtually uses no electricity to operate.
Okay. Well, see, the steam humidifiers, they have that same problem of lime accumulation, and they're just worthless because of that. The lime accumulation in a steam humidifier will cause a heating element to burn up. And I can't imagine, does it say anywhere in the ad that you saw how it gets rid of the lime deposits in the water that's evaporated? That's the big problem, and I don't see. I've
actually got a spec sheet from Aprilaire.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's model number 400.
Model 400.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, I don't know. I can't imagine how it could be a good humidifier, because I don't, unless they've got some. Who knows? Maybe they've got enlisted the aid of.
They're a very, very good quality company, and they have been for years. I wouldn't. If they weren't, I wouldn't think they'd want to venture into that unless they were pretty sure that they had this problem figured out.
I'm going to say I don't see how they could get rid of the lime without magic. I don't know. I'd like to know more about it, but I don't see. The best Aprilaire humidifier on the market is a 600 AutoTrack model. They make a more expensive model, the 700, that has a fan motor in it. I've never been a real big fan of that. It has marginally more capacity, but it's got a fan motor to go bad. It's more complex, costs more, and we just hardly ever put them in.
Yeah, my next question is, would you sell me a 600 and I can install it myself?
Oh, sure. We do that all the time.
Do you have a guess on price or?
Oh, golly.
Without,
I'm not going to, I'm not even going to.
Yeah.
If I start giving out prices over the phone without having them in front of me, oh, man, I'll either guess way too high or way too low.
I might check with you on Monday at the store. And
yeah, give me a holler Monday. But,
okay.
yeah, we do that a lot of times. The only thing that can be a little bit tricky for some people is the wiring, and we can help you with that.
Well, I've installed them before, but
okay.
But I'm thinking about upgrading my own house now. So
yeah, the most important thing, Roger, the biggest advancement in humidifiers was when Aprilaire came out with their model that has an outdoor temperature sensor.
Right.
That auto track feature.
That's what I'm leaning towards. So I don't want to mess with that thing. Let it figure it out.
Yeah, really.
Okay.
All righty. Thanks, Roger.
All right. Bye.
Bye. All righty. That opens the line. Actually, we got 3 open lines. I don't know what's going on here today. Give us a holler. Our number is 576-7798. This is the best part of the show, but we need your calls to keep her rolling here. 576-7798 is our number. If you've got a question or a problem at your house or a do-it-yourselfer getting ready to tackle a problem and don't know quite where to get started or have a particular question, lots open lines right now, 576-7798. And with that, let's talk to Debbie. Hi, Debbie. What can I do for you?
Okay, I've got 2 quick plumbing questions for you. One is probably really common, and one I bet you've never heard before. So let's do the common one first.
Okay.
Okay, my house is like 7 years old. One side of my kitchen sink, not the side with the garbage disposal, but the other side is stopped up.
Okay.
Can I fix that myself, or do I have to have somebody come out?
You can fix that yourself. You know, when you say one side is plugged, the garbage disposal side is clear and the other side isn't.
Right.
That means that the problem's right there under the kitchen sink. It's not down in the pipe going down into the basement or under the floor. And so, yeah, that makes it a simpler job. And here's what you need to do, Debbie. Go open the doors to the cabinets and look at the piping, and look at the pipe from the side that's plugged up, and look at the piping, the drain piping on the garbage disposal side, which is open, and logic will tell you where the blockage has got to be. Now, exiting the sink, there's a tailpiece that goes straight down into the trap or gooseneck, and then the gooseneck makes a U shape, comes back up, and then goes horizontal. It's that horizontal section of pipe, which ordinarily is just, no more than a couple of feet long. That's where the blockage is going to be. And there are slip nuts on the trap. You can take a pair of channel lock pliers, undo the slip nuts. Of course, get a bucket down there to catch the water in the trap when you remove it.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
And anyway, you just remove the trap, and that, you can run a cable through it, but that's such a short piece of pipe. What I often do is just take a real long straight blade screwdriver and just kind of scrape the inside of the pipe out and drag the debris back into the bucket. When you see what's in there, you're going to say, I didn't put any of that down there. It's just black, nasty, greasy. Oh, it's nasty. But yeah, it's an easy job for.
But that's the safer way to do it. It's not good to put something like Liquid Plumber or something down there.
No, and Liquid Plumber doesn't do as good a job. Liquid Plumber and products like that, I mean, I'm not saying they won't open the line, but they'll open a little passageway right through the center of all that gunk. The pipe itself is 1.5 inches or 2 inches inside diameter. The problem with Liquid Plumber and stuff like that, other than the fact that it's very caustic and eats up metal pipes, the problem is that once the Liquid Plumber punches a hole through that gunk, you don't have a pipe that's 1.5 inches or 2 inches in diameter, because once the Liquid Plumber pokes a itty-bitty little hole, 1/2 inch in diameter, the Liquid Plumber's gone. And so it punches a tiny hole through the crud, but leaves most of it there.
I'd always heard it was better not to use that could damage your pipes, but I wasn't
your
sure.
Pipes, and it just doesn't do as good a job as
Alrighty.
mechanical cleaning.
Okay, now for my unusual question.
Okay.
Do you like cats?
Do I like cats?
Yes.
Oh gosh, you're not supposed to say anything bad on the radio.
Okay.
I am not fond of cats. No.
Okay, well, I was not either until I got
puppy
one a few
dogs.
years
I
ago.
like puppies.
But anyway,
let me tell you a funny story about cats. I live out in the country, and so anybody that lives in the country knows that. I mean, the fields around there are just full of mice, and they're field mice. They're field mice all summer long, but when it starts snowing, getting cold outside, the field mice all decide, well, I want to become a house mouse now and move into Dick's house where it's nice and warm. So they all move in, and for years, until I tightened my house up, I had lots. Every winter, I'd have mice, and so I had a friend that had a lot of cats, and she gave me one of her cats. And anyway, at the end of that winter, I decided that I'd rather have the mice than the cat. Now, that's supposed to be a funny story.
Okay, I'll think it's funny.
Okay.
Well, I'm a dog person that's got cats now. So,
oh, really?
So
I love dogs. I love dogs.
So do I. But, okay, now here's my question.
Okay.
Okay, my main bathroom has a bathtub in it. Like I said, the house is 6.5, 7 years old. Mm-hmm. It's all one piece, all going up the wall and everything, so you can use it as a shower and everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so you know what I'm basically what I'm talking
fiberglass
about.
If it's one piece.
Probably, I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, whatever the builder put in the house. But anyway, neutered male cats tend to have a problem with developing crystals in their urine.
Okay.
Okay, and when they do this, it burns, and they don't want to use the litter box. And they go and find, no, this is the truth. This is what, I've researched it. This is the cause of the problem.
Okay.
They tend to try and find a smooth, cool place to urinate.
Okay.
And I have a great big Siamese who's really an angel. I adore this cat. But when he has this problem, his solution is, and it's a very common solution apparently among cats, is to use the bathtub.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I like to know whether or not I need to clean the bathtub before I go to take my bath, so I close the drain so I can see whether or not the cat has used the bathtub. Because he doesn't do it every day, but he does do it, maybe every week or a couple times a month or whatever.
Okay.
And so anyway, if I'm not there to see that he's immediately done it, if I've gone to sleep or if I'm gone to work or whatever, that urine may sit there for a while. Ooh. And so not the little stopper that goes up and down, but the metal ring around it in the bathtub is getting all messy. It looks almost like it's scratched up, and if the urine sits there too long, it actually turns kind of a pale bluish color.
Yeah.
Anyway, does that need to be replaced? And if so, is that something that can be replaced, or am I looking at replacing the whole bathtub, or what?
Oh, golly. That's the tub waste and overflow. You don't have to replace the whole bathtub.
Yeah.
But trying to find that piece, that's going to be the trick.
Really?
If you could find another piece, it probably just unscrews. There's something in the urine that's corrosive that's eating it up. Removing that piece, you need.
I think it's too acidic. I'm not sure. Whichever direction it is, the pH is off when he has his problem, and that's what's causing it.
Yeah.
But I can't lock him away from the bathtub because I don't know where else he would pick.
The moral of this story is don't neuter your cats.
Well, probably true, but he was neutered when I got him.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
and if they're not neutered, you have other problems.
To remove that piece takes an internal wrench. It fits down inside of the drain fitting, and it can be removed with an internal wrench. The trick is going to be finding another piece that's going to fit. That's going to be the hard part, and as a practical matter, you probably won't be able to find it, which means you'll have to replace the entire tub waste and overflow, which means you need access from the bottom side. Now, if this tub's over the basement...
I don't have a basement.
Really? Okay. Or crawl space, if there's a crawl space.
I don't know. There's just a slab.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
So, in other words, I'm better off just living with it?
Yeah. Oh, boy. Or training the cat. I don't know.
It's not the cat's fault. It's not the cat's fault.
That's right.
And I mean, hey, it could be worse. He could, like I said, I can lock him out of that bathroom, but I don't know where else he's going to pick to do this. So,
yeah, that doesn't sound like.
And actually, doing it in the bathtub makes it relatively easy to clean up after and to find.
Yeah.
So, there could be worse places he could.
I've learned something today.
But anyway, it's not something I can solve easily. Apparently. So.
Okay. Well, thanks for the call, Debbie. Good.
Okay.
That kitchen sink, that'll be easy for you.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Boy, I learned something on that one. That opens a call. That opens a line, 576-7798. It's often difficult to get an open line during this show. All the lines are busy now except the one where Debbie just dropped off. And with that in mind, because it's difficult to get an open line during the show. I hear that all the time from people. And so once again, I'm going to give you the same invitation that I always do at this point in the show. And this is an invitation for you to call me anytime you want to, anytime during the week. You don't have to wait till this show comes on the air. We're only on the air 1 hour per week, and whatever you've got may not wait that long. So anyway, if you need a little free advice on a project you're working on, don't hesitate to call me anytime. You don't need to feel like you're imposing on me, and you can call me after 5 o'clock at night, or you can call me on Saturday or Sunday or right after this show, and I really don't mind, and I'm serious about that. Now, I got to admit, in all honesty, a lot of the calls that I do get are from somebody that just wants me to come out and do the work for them. They don't want to give up their free time and become a do-it-yourselfer, or they just don't have the time or don't want to mess around with it, or for whatever reason they call me. And, of course, I like that because that's how I make my living. But I'm being completely sincere when I say that I absolutely don't mind you calling, even if all you need is a little free advice on some do-it-yourself project that you're working on yourself, cleaning your kitchen sink drain or drippy faucets or whatever. And I'm very easy to get in touch with because my normal business phone rings straight to my cell phone after normal business hours. So really all you have to do is remember one number. I'm going to give it to you here so you can jot it down for future reference. The number is 913-888-0550. I'm very sincere in this offer. Do not hesitate to take me up on it. I give out a lot of free advice and information to a lot of people, and I do it on a daily basis. I do this willingly, and if I didn't mean it, I wouldn't make the offer. So don't feel bad when you call me. You don't need to apologize. Once again, the number for future reference is 913-888-0550. And with that, the lines are all lit up, so we're going to get back to the phones here, and we'll start with Dan in Buckner. Hi, Dan. What can I do for you?
Hi, Dick.
Hi.
About 30 years ago, I built a house a little bit like yours. It's full underground, and it has an interior mechanical room where there's an air handler.
Okay.
And I used to have a wood stove in there, and the air handler obviously could pull the heat off the wood stove and then put it into the underground or the below floor duct system.
Yeah.
So tired of fooling with wood.
Yeah.
And I want to, I have gas piped to this room.
Okay.
Happens to be propane.
Okay.
What would you recommend that I do to replace that system? I guess my question would be, I'd like to have some kind of a decorative-looking stove that would burn propane.
Now, you said describe this as a mechanical room. Why does it need to be decorative if it's a
Well, it's got brick facade, and then where the stove is visible,
oh, okay.
It needs to look kind of nice if possible.
Oh, golly. I tell you, you're going from a wood, which you used to be able to go out with a chainsaw and just cut as much wood as you want for free. I guess it's free. You got to have a 4-wheel drive pickup truck, a log splitter, and
a chainsaw.
$2,000 worth of chainsaws.
And a broken back.
Yeah, and a broken back, yeah. But you're going from a fuel that is free if you put up with cutting it to a fuel that you're going to have to pay for, propane. And so with that in mind, I mean, your wood stove wasn't very efficient. Wood stoves just aren't very efficient, but you didn't care because, hey, the wood's free. But propane isn't free unless you got a sweet deal with your propane supplier. So now you're interested a lot more than you were before in the efficiency of the whatever it is you put in there. And with that in mind, I mean, this is going to kill you when it's not going to be decorative. But what I would put in is a high efficiency, like a 95% efficient Lennox gas furnace or, whatever brand. But efficiency is going to become a lot more important to you than it was before when your fuel was basically free.
I see.
But I don't know of any high-efficiency, decorative-looking, a high-efficiency furnace just looks like a furnace. It's sure not pretty.
I understand. Okay, so it's an inverted system, obviously.
A downflow, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, that's no big deal. I mean, Lennox and all the manufacturers, I think, have downflow, high-efficiency LP furnaces.
Well, okay, you've probably put me on to what would be the most sensible.
Yeah.
And I am an engineer, so
okay.
I got to look at that.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, my degree is in mechanical engineering, and I'm supposed to be sensible, too. Now, some of my friends probably would argue that point.
I got the same problem. I understand. Well, that helps.
Sensible, that guy's crazy.
Yeah, I've heard that. So you said Lennox?
Yeah, Lennox. Yeah, I'm a Lennox dealer. That's the product that I'm most familiar with. And actually, if you give me a holler Monday at work, I'll try and research it a little bit. Tell me what.
Helpful. All right, I can tell you a little bit about the house, and you might help me size it, eh?
Okay.
All right, man.
Appreciate the call, Dan.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Alrighty, let's see here. We got Dale in Liberty. Hi, Dale. What can I do for you?
Yeah, good morning.
Morning.
I have a Gerber Ultra Flush toilet.
Yeah.
It's only a year old, but the bowl water height is a little high. How do you adjust that?
Oh, God. I was talking about Gerber toilets at the beginning of the show, and I mentioned a guy down in Coffeyville that bought a Gerber Ultra Flush toilet for me, and he called me with the same question. He said, how do you adjust the water level in the toilet bowl? And there is no adjustment. And I don't know if the water level in the bowl's a little higher than normal, but it was a problem, he said, for him. And now you're the second person. The other fellow was 10 years ago. You're the second person now in probably 10 years that told me they wanted to adjust water level. And the bottom line is you can't. The water level, the water fills the bowl of a toilet to the point where the weir of the trap is. The weir is a fancy, it's a word that plumbers use so you think that we're really smart. Weir is a fancy word for dam. And there is a dam in the trap of a toilet called a weir, and when the water starts flowing over the dam, that's the level of the water of the toilet, and there is no adjustment for that.
I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, that's at the Gerber's website. That's a common complaint.
Oh, is it really?
Huh. About the height of the water.
Yeah, yeah. The man, now this is another one of those things you don't talk about on the radio, but the man that I talked to in Coffeyville 10 years ago said he had stuff that was hanging down into the water. So anyway,
right.
There's no way to adjust water level, I'm afraid.
Okay, well, you answered my question.
Okie dokie.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All righty. Looks like we're out of time here. Hey, John in Overland Park, I'm not going to be able to get to your call on the air, but if you hang on, I'll talk to you off the air. I hope you all enjoyed the show. In the meantime, if something comes up that won't wait till next Sunday, we'll be back next Sunday, of course, at 11 o'clock, same time. But if something won't wait, again, don't hesitate to take me up and give me a holler. If you got a question, working on some do-it-yourself project and get hung up on something, absolutely don't hesitate to call me. I'll try and help you. And once again, the number is 913-888-0550. Or, of course, if you got something that you don't want to take care of yourself, you want me to take care of it for you, same number, 913-888-0550. See you next Sunday.
This is Kansas City's news, traffic, and weather station,